Hi, my name's Sammy, and I did my language project on the Cham language. First, a bit of historical background. Uh, the Cham language was spoken in the former Champa Empire, which is highlighted in green. It was the most popular of all Chamic languages spoken among the polities. It dates back to at least the 4th century, as inscriptions of the language were discovered on an ancient temple in Vietnam. That's pictured on the right. The language was first endangered in the late 14th and early 15th centuries when the Daviet kingdom in yellow began making incursions southward, expanding as far south as the Mekong River region. This displaced Cham speakers into two groups. One group fled southward, where there existed remnants of Cham speaking polities, and others fled to the mountains. It's estimated that at least 60,000 Cham peoples were killed during this expansion. Here you can see the distributions of the two directions of flight, with one group of speakers residing in eastern Cambodia on the left and the second group in southern Vietnam on the right. So Cham is part of the Austronesian family of languages, and it derives from the Chamic subbranch. It is currently the most spoken Chamic language in mainland Southeast Asia, yet it's still considered vulnerable. Due to the displacement of Cham speakers during Divet expansion, there have emerged two dialects, Eastern Cham and Western Cham. Eastern Cham is primarily spoken in Vietnam. It uses a Cham script which has Hindu-Indic influences. It also has a more pronounced pitch compared to Western Cham, and there are about 80,000 speakers. Western Cham is spoken in Cambodia. It utilizes an Arabic script and has about 220,000 speakers. There exists several similarities between the two dialects. For example, they have similar vowel inventories and a series of voiceless, unaspirated, and aspirated stops. This is noticeable in how the P sound is only slightly voiced in certain scenarios. In other situations, the P is voiced as a B sound, such as in the word blaw, which means feather. Additionally, Cham's grammar rules follow a subject-verb-object order. Lastly, both dialects have borrowed words from other languages like Mon Khmer and Arabic. For example, some of its phoneme inventories are related to Mon Khmer, and Arabic words are used for religious purposes. In addition to Eastern and Western Cham, there's a diaspora of Cham speakers in Thailand, the US, France, and China. Like their language similarities and differences, Eastern and Western Cham peoples have connections and variances in their social circumstances. First, Eastern Chams in Vietnam are mostly Theravada Buddhists, while Western Chams are predominantly Sunni Muslims. Additionally, Western Chams seem to live more distinct lifestyles from other ethnic groups in Cambodia, as their villages consist almost of entirely Cham peoples. Both groups work as agriculturalists and fishermen and also experience extreme poverty. Finally, the two groups practice matrilineal descent. This has been cited as one of the reasons for lack of assimilation in Cambodia, as Khmer peoples did not want to enter into matrilineal systems of ancestry or inheritance. Younger Chams who work in factories, tourism, and foreign investment sectors have noted the increasing importance of knowing English or national languages such as Vietnamese. This diminishment of importance for Cham in the workforce can also be connected to the fact that neither Western nor Eastern Cham people use their language's written scripts. So I've divided threats to the Cham language into two categories, historical and current. As mentioned in the first slide, the first threat to the language occurred during the 14th and 15th century expansion of the Daviet Empire. A second threat from the Daviet occurred in the 19th century when the government initiated assimilationist policies which targeted the Cham. These policies ultimately continue today under the Vietnamese government. During the Vietnam War and the Khmer rule in Cambodia during the mid-20th century, over 50,000 Cham escaped violence by migrating to Malaysia, where they have fully assimilated. Furthermore, during the Khmer rule, at least 100,000 Western Cham speakers were killed. Currently, the Cham in Vietnam are victims of state-sponsored violence and discrimination. Their tangible heritage, such as sacred temples, have been destroyed, religious practices have been banned, people are being murdered and imprisoned, and there are numerous accounts of land grabbing by the government, leaving Chams forcibly displaced. In Cambodia, Chams do not consider their language endangered. However, a number of factors are contributing to the vulnerability of Cham heritage, lifestyle, and language. For example, Cham villages in Cambodia are more widely distributed than other ethnic groups residing in the state. Thus, weak ties and geographical barriers have hindered communal unity and linguistic unity. Moreover, the global market and tourist economy influences threaten the use of the Cham language. In regards to the question, is language loss a byproduct of socioeconomic development or a lack of preserving a diverse linguistic heritage? I have three key points here and an example I thought of. First, I think the number of speakers in a given area plays an important role, that the language maintains importance beyond historical preservation. For example, are there enough speakers in a given area that it is beneficial to know the language in social interactions and transactions outside of the domestic sphere? Second, the lack of communal unity among the Chams in Cambodia and the creation of the International Office of the Champa to encourage cultural and linguistic preservation as well as interactions among Chams demonstrates how unity within a linguistic group is key to that language's survival. However, I think the Cham case also illustrates how outside forces, such as globalization, state policies, foreign incursions, and violence, can seriously endanger the survival of linguistic heritage. Finally, I'd like to draw in the Catalan case, which I've conducted extensive research on. For several decades, Catalonia, Spain, has experienced high levels of economic development and is deeply entangled in the global economy as a major exporter and a tourist destination. However, about 90% of their population, including their foreign migrant population, continue to speak Catalan today, despite the promotion of Spanish and English to be spoken in the area. I think this case illustrates how language loss from globalization is not a given. There are a number of factors that can lead to or prevent language loss, and each language case is different.